and thanks for joining me, Sport Pilot James Glory, on another exciting episode of Sport Vibe on DNT. Will bring you exciting and latest sport happenings across the world of sport every Tuesday, and this week won't be an exception. So I would implore you to please stay tuned, because we'll be right back shortly after this break. Welcome back to an exciting episode of Sport Vibe on DNT Work, and this week we are ready to take you on a ride. And starting from the world of tennis, we talk about the just concluded tournament, the Australian Open, that was concluded during the weekend, where we saw Madison Keys defeating Aryna Sabalenka to win the Australian Open, the first Grand Slam title in her career. She was able to stop Aryna Sabalenka from winning it back-to-back. You remember that Aryna Sabalenka was able to win the Australian Open in the year 2024 and was hoping that she would be able to do that back-to-back this year, but she was stopped by Keys, who had the keys in her hands to win the Australian Open this year. It's a sad one for Aryna Sabalenka coming into that competition with so many expectations and making it to the finals. Everyone would have thought she would win it, but Madison Keys, against all odds, was able to win her first Grand Slam title after 46 appearances in the world of tennis. Is quite an interesting one for her coming into the competition, underrated, and was able to walk away with the major trophy in the Australian Open, where you talk about the female category of the 2025 Australian Open. And another interesting one from the Australian Open that was concluded during the weekend was this incredible outing for Jannik Sinner, who was able to win it for the second time in a row, having won it in the year 2024. Jannik Sinner was able to win the Australian Open in the men's category for the year 2025 after defeating Alexander Zverev in the finals of that particular competition. It was an interesting one to see Jannik Sinner win his third Grand Slam title at the Australian Open. Remember, last year he was able to win the Australian Open, he was able to win the US Open, and now he has made his third Grand Slam title at the beginning of the year 2025, winning it, and with this set the momentum going forward in the year in the world of tennis. You remember that Novak Djokovic was able to defeat Carlos Alcaraz to proceed to the semi-final of the competition, where he was unable to play the semi-finals and paid way for Alexander, who had a walkover to face Jannik Sinner in the finals of the competition. He was unable to win that, while Jannik Sinner was able to get his 21st consecutive win in the Grand Slam appearance at the Australian Open, and was able to win the Australian Open for the second time in a row, a back-to-back victory for Jannik Sinner in the world of tennis. The Italian man is doing incredibly well and continuing from where he stopped in the year 2024. And quickly, let's switch our attention to the world of football. We'll talk about so many interesting and so many results that happened during the weekend, particularly in the Premier League, as we saw Leicester City defeating Tottenham Hotspur in the weekend, and they were able to get the maximum points to get them out of the relegation zone in the Premier League. It was quite an interesting one to see Leicester being able to defeat Tottenham Hotspur after going 7 matches defeated in the Premier League. They were able to inflict another defeat on Tottenham Hotspur that are yet to get a win in their last 11 matches in the Premier League. Their last win came December last year, and this means that the Tottenham Hotspur side, the Postecoglou side, are sitting in the 15th position in the Premier League right now as things stands, but Leicester City are 1 point clear of the relegation zone in the Premier League. A very important point for the Van Nistelrooy side, Leicester City, going forward in the Premier League. And another interesting one, talking about a manager that has had so many interesting spells in the Premier League. We talk about David Moyes, who was able to get his 700th match in charge as a manager, and was being able to do that with his club that he loves so much. When we talk about Everton, as Everton was able to get a win against Brighton and Hove Albion during the weekend, and this means that this is the first time this season that Everton will be getting a back-to-back victory in the Premier League. We're beginning to see the effect of David Moyes on the Everton side as they were able to defeat Brighton and Hove Albion during the weekend 1-0 to secure a crucial point in the Premier League this season. Of course, an interesting one also talking about Bournemouth, a team that are in form right now. They were able to put up a 5-star performance against Nottingham Forest as they were able to defeat Nottingham Forest 5-0 over the weekend to seal their place in the 7th position in the Premier League. You remember that before now, Nottingham Forest has gone 8 games unbeaten in the Premier League, but Bournemouth have been able to extend their unbeaten streak in the Premier League to 11 matches unbeaten after they were able to inflict a defeat on Nottingham Forest, the team that has been in form so much in this year's Premier League as they are currently occupying the 3rd position in the Premier League. It was an interesting outing for Bournemouth as one of their players was able to bag an hat-trick again in the Premier League. But permit me quickly to go on a very short break, and when we're right back, we continue from where we stopped.
JK Royal Signatures, a blend of African fabric.
Welcome back, and continue from where we stopped in the world of football. We'll be traveling down to the Italian Serie A, where we talk about a match that took place between Napoli and Juventus during the weekend. You remember that Napoli were able to inflict the first defeat of the season on Juventus, who had gone 21 matches undefeated in the Serie A before facing Napoli over the weekend. That means Napoli are the first side to win Juventus this season in the Italian Serie A. They were able to get the win to extend their lead at the top of the Italian Serie A table. Remember that Inter Milan are currently at the 2nd position, mounting pressure on Napoli with a game in hand. But Napoli has shown again that they have their eyes on the Italian Serie A this season under Antonio Conte, and will they be able to win that? You remember Lukaku was able to get another decisive goal for Napoli during the weekend to get the maximum points, where we saw Koulibaly scoring his debut goal for Juventus. They will be hoping that they will be able to walk away with at least a draw in the Serie A this season after being able to get 13 draws already in the Serie A, but they have also been able to suffer their first defeat in the Italian Serie A this season, inflicted on them by the league leaders Napoli. And quickly, let's travel down to the La Liga, where we talk about Real Madrid extending their lead at the top of the La Liga table with 4 points after Real Madrid were able to get a victory over the weekend, where we saw Kylian Mbappe scoring his first hat-trick for Real Madrid after Mbappe was able to convert a penalty kick over the weekend. It was an interesting one for him, scoring his first hat-trick for Real Madrid in the La Liga this season. And let's see if Mbappe will be able to continue with the incredible form that he has had in the year 2025. And let's see if Real Madrid will be able to win their next Champions League match or to proceed to the knockout phase of the competition. Because as things looks out right now, they are not guaranteed to finish at the top 8 that would guarantee them an automatic qualification in the Champions League. And talking about the Champions League, we talk about Manchester City, who needs a point to secure in the Champions League. In the match that will be taking place tomorrow, they will need to defeat Club Brugge to be able to qualify for the knockout phase of the Champions League. But before the Champions League, let's talk about an interesting outing that they had in the Premier League as they were able to defeat Chelsea 3-1 in the Premier League, and this means that Manchester City are back to the top 4 in the Premier League. They were able to come back from behind to defeat Chelsea Football Club 3-1, where we saw Erling Haaland capitalizing on the mistake of the Chelsea goalkeeper Roberto Sanchez, scoring a goal from outside the box 18. Everyone knows that Erling Haaland loves to score from the 18-yard box, but this time around he took advantage of the mistake of Sanchez scoring outside the box 18. And will Manchester City be able to reciprocate this form in the Premier League tomorrow as they'll be facing Club Brugge in the Champions League? Let's see if they will be able to do that. And after facing Club Brugge, Manchester City will be facing Arsenal Football Club in the Premier League, their next match against the second position in the Premier League, as Arsenal were able to get a crucial win against Wolverhampton after going a man down in the Premier League. We saw their defender scoring the vital goal for them as they were able to walk away with the maximum points and continue to maintain their second position in the Premier League, where we saw Nottingham Forest occupying the third position and Manchester City back to the Champions League spot, occupying the fourth position in the Premier League, sharing the same point with Nottingham Forest. Will they be back at the top to compete for the Premier League this season? We still have a long way to decide that in the world of football. Let's see if they'll be able to get the results that they seek for in the Champions League tomorrow night. And this is the length at which we will be going on this week's episode of Sport Vibe on DNT Work. For more news and sports stories, follow us across our various social media handles at Sport Vibe on DNT Work. Remain law-abiding citizens, stay out of trouble, and enjoy your week. Thank you.